All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's Monday night, and we've certainly got another week ahead of shows planned for you on Sportswire Radio that are going to certainly give you everything that we are, which is all wrestling that matters. And our guest, who hasn't been here in a while, it's been many, many months since we've covered our very good friends over at Legendary Backyard Wrestling. We're going to definitely make up for it here and some, because not only is he a Hall of Famer, he's a part of the Backyard Wrestling Nexus Hall of Fame, he is also now the general manager of Legendary Backyard Wrestling. There is a lot to talk about in LBYW land. Plus, he's going to talk about, is it finally over with him? He'll tell us more about that. Plus, we're getting ready for Golden Ticket, our first live pay-per-view in April. We're about maybe 6 or 7 weeks away from that. And obviously, we cannot wait to see what happens, and also talk about a number of different things that you might see, you might not see, but everything else here and a bag of chips and some. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been such a long time that we have had Legendary Backyard Wrestling coverage here on Sportswire Radio. I almost forgot how to do this intro for our guest, but actually I'm only kidding. But it is now time to give him that introduction that everybody else has gotten here on Sportswire Radio. And it feels so good to be given Legendary Backyard Wrestling that introduction, and especially a Hall of Famer, our general manager, a man that has won 18 championships in his decorated career, and we won't hold it against him, at his San Francisco 49ers couldn't get the job done against those. But it's time to give him that intro, because we are ready to rock and roll on Sportswire Radio. So with that, wait for it, further ado here on the Sports Report. Wait for the road. The number one sports show. The general manager for Legendary Backyard Wrestling, Hall of Famer from the Backyard Wrestling Nexus, 5-time LBYW 24/7 champion, 12-time United States champion, and a 1-time world champion. His name is Chris my friend, long time no speak.
What's up? I'm glad to be back.
It's been a while, but it's good to have you back home. And I guarantee you that intro you weren't getting out there in North Dakota, but that's here nor there. Certainly a lot to talk about, my friend. And first of all, how are you? It's been a while.
Good. Enjoying the retired life.
Well, that's a great segue, because a lot of people have been wondering about you. Chris Arruda, obviously you're in the front office role. You're our general manager here in Legendary Backyard Wrestling. And obviously a lot to talk about in the world of Legendary Backyard Wrestling. We're going to certainly get ready for Golden Ticket. We got all these shows ready announced for our big pay-per-views. We obviously have a match to recap. We've got basically some moving and shaking ahead also to discuss. But I have to ask you, Chris Arruda, because we've been through this before with you. The last time I was here, I asked you about retiring, and you were like kind of almost demurring, and you wound up actually coming back. And I have to ask you then, for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling matters, and especially for our fans of Legendary Backyard Wrestling, Chris Arruda, now is it finally safe to say that you are permanently retired?
Yes, it is. I am permanently retired. I did come back. I did have to come back to do the best of 5 with Ragnarok, because the whole thing was try to give him a push.
Right.
A better way to do that
he was 8-31 going into the best of 5. So I mean, you not only had to push him, you almost had to move a mountain for him.
Exactly. Yeah. So we wanted to give Ragnarok a little push, make his character a little more face, or he'll, give him that little taste of gold that he got.
Well, let me ask you though. Obviously, that's the last match that we saw you in the ring when you officially lost the best of five and were eliminated from regaining the U.S. championship. And I know, obviously, we'll talk about somebody, or maybe not even mention the person, but you're supposed to have been last match that was supposed to have taken place at Haunted Hellfest 3. But I mean, how much have you thought about the last match that you've had, and is it kind of a disappointment? Do you feel fulfilled now in your career? Talk to me.
Um, well, it sucks going out with the loss, but at that point in my career, it was more like helping more new talent rise up, and helping the backyard wrestling bring in, more viewers and helping the new wrestlers. Well, not new, but the wrestlers out, making them, a little more known.
Do you feel like, in a way, that you're kind of passing the torch, if that makes sense? Then do you feel, because obviously Sting's gonna have to deal with this question next week in Greensboro when we think he's going to retire. But I'm curious. Do you feel that you've passed the torch successfully to Ragnarok?
I think I did. I think with our matches, best of five, it turned out really good. Him, getting the United States Championship, so it's kind of like I passed torch pretty good. I think he can carry it on. Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, and I think obviously it was only a matter of time because, like I said, we had you on last time. I think it was about like 8 months ago you came on, and we were kind of like wondering, okay, what's going to happen? I think right afterwards you came back into the ring. So I mean, I guess you can say never, but I feel like it only becomes how many times can you retire and unretire? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know you've obviously we've been through this dance here before on Sportswire, but I mean, it does come to a certain point when and boxers, for example, struggle with this. I mean, Ric Flair has struggled with this. I mean, Hulk Hogan has struggled with this. I mean, you can go up and down the list of people, but there does come to a point, especially with you already being a Hall of Famer, especially
Yeah.
with you already winning, nearly 20 championships in your career, being a world champion, multiple times U.S., several times 24/7 champion.
Yeah.
And in a way, you still got to go out on top because we saw at Haunted Hellfest when you announced your retirement this time, you obviously relinquished the 24/7 championship without having to lose it. So I mean, in a way, that's
Yeah.
got to feel good.
Oh yeah, it was. And I did want to have one last match. See, so he never showed up, of course. But
yeah,
I actually had a different idea because I believe my first match in LBYW when we first started it was against CJ the Alpha Giant.
yes, yeah. I remember we spoke about that here on the show months ago. Yep, correct.
So with who never showing up, I was actually I was thinking about calling CJ the Alpha Giant down for a last match. Kind of like a first.
Poetic, yeah, first and last. Yeah, that's a good plan because you start and then you close.
Yeah.
But, you obviously wanted to wrestle somebody, and the individual, when we actually thought it was going to happen, because the individual actually moved to where you guys are, but
Yeah,
it never wound up happening. Yeah, it never wound up happening.
Yeah, and then I wanted to pick this little white room. It has a window off to the side, kind of like a little gunshot memorial for him, his little prison room and shit.
It's funny. It's funny you said this because I'm kind of really saying his name or even going with him in bated breath because I did a show a couple of days ago with a bunch of British wrestlers, and it's kind of been the talk because the guys I had on did a real shoot. It was basically, I think, like a CM Punk pipe bomb, and I've had people that I've known for years all of a sudden message me, you should take that interview down. I didn't like what they said. So I mean, I'm trying to be careful because in this case with the individual, he certainly doesn't have more of a gunshot. It's more like a water gun. It's more like a toy gun. And I really, we've had that experience here on Sportswire months ago when the individual tried to come on. It was an absolute, cluster.
Yeah.
I don't even want to give him the time of day at this point because, I've already, we've kind of really grown. You guys have grown. And so we'll certainly see what happens with him. But, now that you've transitioned, and we'll come back to the career in a few minutes, but now that you've transitioned in a front office role, how are you liking being a general manager?
Oh, being general manager is actually pretty good because I get to make actually more decisions, and seeing seeing who's going to be best, in the upcoming matches and stuff like that, and try to give the fans and stuff, the best type of matches.
And the cast
And
of that type of matches as well, right?
yeah, and that too. And just try to delegate and trying to help everybody rise to another level at the same time putting out good quality matches and shows and stuff for the fans.
Was that something you always wanted to do in being a general manager? I know we spoke before.
Yeah.
I know you a little bit, but was that something you always wanted to do in being a general manager?
It is, because I've watched wrestling like forever, and we have a lot of good ideas and stuff, and now being in general manager position, I actually have the footing where I can actually start making that happen, and bring my ideas more so being with the power of a GM.
How do you separate? You've done a lot in your career. We spoke about that. You were in the Hall of Fame. You've won, like I said, numerous championships. But how do you separate being the in-ring competitor, Chris Arruda, to now in this front office role? I'm always so curious about this. We see it all the time in wrestling. Guys, or they have roles, whether it's a commissioner or a general manager or a president in wrestling, and they still can't almost separate themselves from being that in-ring competitor. So how do you separate yourself from that?
Okay. It is hard, because when you're out there, and you're making the decisions for the matches, and you're seeing all the wrestlers have fun and going at it, and doing really good matches for everybody, you want to get back out there. You feel like you still got the energy, but you just got kind of like separate.
And we lost you there for a second, but I think that I kind of got the majority of the point, is that obviously you've done a lot, but it's now time to let the roster that we have here in LBYW that's going to help the company continue to grow. And I think about the fact that when I first started getting to know you guys, we had over 1,000 subscribers, or just around 1,000, and now we're over at 1,300. So it shows you that the company continues to grow leaps and bounds, and that's obviously a credit to yourself and the current roster here.
Yeah, it's and seeing it over the years that what we built, and then just the more fans and more fans, it makes it a little more harder, because you want to be out there and do more matches, because but then
you've retired a couple times already, mister. I mean, we know we like you here, and I actually have something I'm going to present to you in a few minutes. You don't even know what it is, but I'm going to present it to you.
No,
I promise you it'll be a good thing. It won't be a gunshot. It won't be a squirt gun. It won't be a water gun or a play gun. But I promise you it'll be something that you like. But, it always is so fascinating when you obviously are still involved, but you're not doing what you want. But, you're still, in many ways, more involved than you were in the ring. But obviously, talking about the season that we're getting ready for, obviously, the season's going to take place in April here. Golden Ticket, I think it's a great time to have you guys come back, because we're not too far away from the season. I think we're just about maybe 6 or 7 weeks away from the season, depending on scheduling. And how excited are you for this season upcoming? This would be, I think, season 5.
Okay, so this season we have a lot of good stuff planned, so I'm really excited, because last season we've seen Just Ice turn to Queen Just Ice turn from a heel to a face. At the same time, we turn Nate Dogg got the turn from face to heel and joining PBS. And that's always hard to do in the same season. Doing both flip flop for wrestlers, and then on top of that, we got Ragnarok that got the push. So this season, we have
Napalm's been back and forth. I mean, Napalm's been in and out. That's another name to throw out there.
That's actually another thing. I'll talk about. But we have some really good ideas for this season. So it's gonna be fun to do.
Well, don't tell me the ideas, because people are going to be out here, and obviously everybody else in LBYW is like, all right, you're a general manager, but don't tell the ideas. We want people to actually go out and sub and follow Legendary Backyard Wrestling, because yours truly, unlike last time, I actually have the link for you guys and some different ways that people can actually get involved and join the conversation. So we're actually going to put that here right below. So you can get in touch with YouTube Instagram, ND
Yeah.
_backyard _ wrestling, and TikTok, LBYW _ Make sure you support Legendary Backyard Wrestling. Always been a company that we've enjoyed to cover on Sportswire Radio. We're happy to have Chris Arruda back, who's a Hall of Famer from the Backyard Wrestling Nexus, and also our general manager here. Let me say hello to some people. Hello, Tom Bryce and Chris Arruda. How are you guys doing? I think we're doing great. We're having a nice time. I have Monday Night Raw in the background. I'm talking to a Hall of Famer, and the missus in the background as well. How you doing to the missus as well?
Yeah.
Obviously involved in things. If she wants to say hi, she's certainly welcome to as well. And how you doing there, missus? Good to see you. Good to see you. And nice. Thank you for lending
How's it
our
going?
general manager to be here. But always a family fair at LBYW. I always love you guys. And I think I know who this is. How you doing? Certainly good to see you as well. My buddy Ace Reed from the Wired Up podcast. Ace is going to be back on here in the next week or so. We're going to talk with his company. He's got a YouTube page.
Oh yeah.
WU, and you know him from the Backyard Wrestling Nexus. He's doing a great job out there. And this person seems like they know you. Look at this guy, the dude that never retires.
No, I am officially retired.
Are you sure about that? Do you want to put your hand on the Bible and say go under oath? I mean,
yeah, I could go on out and say actually a lot of it is to do with trying to bring other people up, but it's also because I've actually had a lot of back problems.
I know. Well, that's the thing. When we spoke the first time on the air, you did have some injuries, and you were talking about the fact that, you've put your body through a lot. I mean, what you guys do out there, you guys have wrestled on the ground. You guys certainly wrestle on the trampoline. You guys have done some other stuff out there. So, you guys have put your bodies through a lot in a short amount of time. Plus, you've done other things outside your life. So, really, realistically speaking, to be, the kind of father, grandfather, be everything else that you are, it would take to continue to go in the ring. You're obviously making some decisions that may impact you later on. So, I mean, I love to see you out there in the ring. I'm sure a lot of people do, but you have to obviously do what's best for you, your body, and your family, most importantly.
Oh yeah, that's another reason why I stepped down. But it's fun being a GM. And get in the background. And we actually do have I actually do have a little bit of on our backstage, LBYW backstage on YouTube. It actually has me one of the things I like to do is show the new wrestlers moves and try to help them learn it, And there is actually some videos of me doing that, on the LBYW backstage on YouTube.
Okay, all right. And somebody says that they can't hear me. So if you're actually on YouTube and if you say that you can't hear me, let me know. I know there is some background noise. I don't think it's on my end, but if you are having trouble hearing me, let me know because I feel like, Chris, you hear me correctly because obviously we're having a background conversation. So I don't know what the issue might be. My audio is on. So if anybody is out there and they want to let us know, thank you for the comment. But we'll certainly get back to that. Hello, loving Kobe. This man actually wrestled also, and he wrestled in a retirement match yesterday, but he didn't retire. He actually retired his stepfather, Festus Davis, a very good friend over in XCW, and Michael Christian did a phenomenal job. It was a great match. It's on the XCW All Access page on YouTube. Check it out. And he says, loving the Kobe shirt. He was a good basketball player, but a damn good father. And he also retired. A man was an honor. And I think Kobe won an Oscar also, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't Kobe win an Oscar? I think as well. I think he won an Oscar in addition to his basketball playing. And Michael is here with us, and Michael's going to be back on the show in the next month. I want to say hello to my buddy out there in the UK, Daniel Batter. Daniel, it's 1:21 a.m. Daniel, what are you doing up at 1:21 a.m.? I would love to know that question. But
watching the Tom Bryce show, of course.
You know what? That's a good point. Daniel said it might be on your end. Yeah, there is a little bit of noise on your end. Okay, so if you can tune, if there's anything in the background, if you could mute it, that would be great. Just because I don't think it's on my end. We'll wait for that. While we do that here, we want people to follow our friends over at Legendary Backyard Wrestling, and you can do that at also LBYW _ on TikTok, ND _ backyard _ wrestling on YouTube and Instagram. And also I have here, thank you, Daniel. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you're out there, if you want to let me know I don't think it's on my end because I'm actually talking. I'm on an internet radio station. I can tell you right now that the radio's on fine. So I mean, maybe it's your issue. Maybe anything else that you have, let me know. But Snickers 666. Thank you for tuning in. Also, give us that sub button. It's 6579 Sportswire Radio. Hit that sub button. Let us know. But yeah, I don't know what the issue. It's fixed now. It's because of his audio, Snickers. And yes, he got booed. He's going to restart. I think the issue is Snickers is that Chris Arruda's audio is having a little bit of outside noise, and that's kind of probably impacting why you hear me. But we're going to definitely get that fixed. And yes, Gareth Angel is here Monday afternoon, my time, Monday night, your time, 7:30 p.m. British Standard Time, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Gareth Angel, of course, at Kingdom Wrestling to go into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. He's going to talk all things related to Kingdom Wrestling. He's going to talk about the future. He's going to talk about his most recent match with Jack Johnson. He's going to talk about everything else he's doing in the community, obviously BBC work, charity work, everything else to spread the good work of Kingdom Wrestling. Gareth Angel here next Monday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. British Standard Time in the UK. Very excited to have Gareth Angel making his long-awaited return to Sports by Radio. It's his first appearance in nearly 7 months, so we're very, very excited about Gareth Angel here. And we have him back by popular demand, Chris Arruda. Chris, I hope that noise has been fixed, and good to see you, my friend. How you doing?
Yes, I believe it was fixed. It sounds a little better.
Better,
People that couldn't hear.
Yeah. It sounds a little bit better now. So it sounds better. Happy to have that. Obviously, these things do happen. But obviously, talking about that, we were speaking, and let's talk about for a few minutes our new world champion. Well, champion for a while, and Queen Just Ice. I mean, what a run she's been on. She's our wrestler. Oh, yeah. She's been our wrestler of the year. And talk about our world champion for a few minutes.
Okay, so Queen Just Ice, having her turn face was like one of the best things to do, is because it's kind of like the Cody Rhodes of WWE with being Queen Just Ice. Everybody loved Just Ice, so having her win the championship was just to make her peak even better. So it was really good watching her win not just the world championship but our first ever King of the Ring tournament.
And I was going to say, she would be the queen of the ring then. I mean, it's kind of cool, right? You think about it, that's pretty cool in a way that you have a tournament, and our guys in the IMF just had a King of the Center tournament, but actually, but what's so cool about what you guys did, obviously, Just Ice, cool as ice, but Queen Just Ice wins to become the queen of the ring. And that's kind of, in a way, I think shows that you guys have really been forward thinking in the roster that you have. I mean, it's kind of a cool thing. I don't know if you guys thought about it in that way.
We kind of did, in a way, bringing, thinking ahead, and we try to think about everybody on the roster. That's why we have the Aviator, Big E,
yep,
the Wife, all of them have matches, and they've all won 24/7s, because it kind of gives the fans a variety, of different champions and where we're going and stuff like that.
And I think that it does a lot for a company to have variety. I'm always a believer in that. You want to change it up a little bit. You don't want to see the same things. You don't want to see the same matches. You want to give people also a chance to see what the company has to offer. And you guys have a really good roster. You have a number of different talents. And obviously, while certainly Queen Just Ice has been on an amazing run, I know I have to bring up for you, they've been thorns in your back for a while as well, PBS, and they certainly won the War Games to end the season. And, PBS, they certainly ain't going away anytime soon. They might be giving you some PMS pretty soon.
Oh, they have definitely been a thorn. That was pretty good.
Since you've last come on, I've been working on my stand-up comedy, because my running joke is that I sometimes say too many things on Sportswire offensive that they'll probably cancel me, and I'll have to try a career instead of being in the radio business in the stand-up comedy business, because I literally might get the hook soon. So there you have it. But go ahead.
Your act's coming along pretty good.
Appreciate that. Go ahead.
Yes, PMS or PBS. I always call them PMS just to get under their skin, But they have actually, stepped up pretty good. That War Games, that was our first War Games, so it turned out really good.
And you refereed in that as well, by the way. That's pretty unique.
I had to because I had to make sure it actually went fair because we all know how PBS
Because PBS
does
is a
it.
bunch of
You know,
cheaters.
yeah.
They jumped my kid, and
I
I will
saw.
take them back for
I
that.
Okay,
saw. No. I saw.
so I actually do have because as a general manager, I don't like my wrestlers getting assaulted outside. So I got some stuff cooking planned for them. So you
Mm,
guys are just gonna have to tune in to see for that.
So you're telling me that the Wilster and his minions, your Showtime, and everybody else, that they're gonna actually be in for some surprises this season comes? Is that what you're telling me?
Oh yeah. And there's only one other person that knows about it, and none of us are saying nothing. So it's gonna be a surprise for everybody.
Mm. Yeah, I wanted to talk with you also about the one match we've had this year, which was the match with CJ the Alpha Junt, a man that is no stranger to this platform, and Napalm. And I was kind of surprised about this, but for the first time in CJ's career, which again, it's been a long time career. Obviously, he is this company, and he tapped out for the first time in his career. I mean, you have to talk about that match because that was an intense match, and that was pretty much that feud coming to a head. I think it had to have been what, going back since, I guess, maybe since May of last year. You came on, I want to say maybe like in June. So that really was 8 months in the making. Obviously, Napalm was gone from the company, came back in the company, and it all came to a head a few weeks ago. And it wound up
Yep.
CJ the Alpha Junt tapping out for the first time in his decorated career.
Well, see, he would have tapped out sooner if I really wanted to make him tap out. No, but
Touche, touche.
I was letting him go. No, actually, that is another thing. Napalm is back. We actually just signed him to a full-time contract.
Oh,
So
wow.
he,
Okay, there's
so
big news
he's
here.
gonna,
Big news.
yep. So he's going to be wrestling for LBYW full-time now. So we're going to see a lot more of him, and hopefully, maybe some more tap outs. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. But making CJ tap, I think it kind of like put how the year for CJ Jump went. He lost his belts. He lost. He tried to do some. He tried to bite off so much that he couldn't chew. Too much.
Yeah, he had like, it was like a weird year for him, if that makes sense. We're used to him being on top. I know, obviously, he did have the losing streak. He came back, and but I would say that his year, I don't want to say it was incomplete, but it wasn't what we've expected or seen from him in prior years, I think.
Yeah. I would say probably I would compare it to like maybe a McIntyre type year. He was really
Yeah,
high up there,
and
and then all
dropped
of a
down for a
sudden,
while, couldn't find himself. Yeah, good point.
yeah.
Good point.
So he had one of those type years, but there is a few plans and stuff, for him. So we're just gonna have to wait to see how this season works out for him.
I cannot wait for that. I mean, obviously, we're very, very excited about all of that. But since, we are in the middle of the show, Mr. Arruda, now, obviously,
Yes,
as I
sir.
alluded to it a few minutes ago, we actually had something for you. For those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, especially fans of legendary backyard wrestling, you have no idea what I'm actually going to give you. It could be who knows what, but I actually want to present to you something on behalf of all the great things that you've done, obviously in legendary backyard wrestling, certainly with the Backyard Wrestling Nexus. And I wanted to, give you something only if you would accept. Now, if you say no and decline, obviously I don't have to give it to you. But since we are out here, in the World Wide Web and we're on worldwide radio here on sportsbyradio.org, would you like me to show something on the screen that we'd like to recognize you here for? If you would only insist.
I insist, by all means.
Okay, so for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, especially fans of legendary backyard wrestling, Chris Arruda, member of the Backyard Wrestling Nexus Hall of Fame, and also our general manager of legendary backyard wrestling, today is your lucky day because on February the 19th, on all Sportswire Radio platforms, including Tumblr at Sportswire Radio, Twitch at Sportswire Radio, Facebook at Sportswire Radio, SportswireRadio.org, which we're on right now, YouTube at Sportswire Radio 6570, on Instagram at the Sports Report 2021, Twitter at Thomas Price 2017, and my Facebook at Tom Price. It is officially recognized Chris Arruda Day. We have got the Sportswire Radio logo here that kind of shows what we're about, and also your name, my John Hancock, today's date, and basically officially recognizing on this date, February 19th, 2024, it is acknowledged as Chris Arruda Day. My friend, congratulations. When we're off the air, I will personally email you this certificate, but we wanted to do something different. You know, you're already a Hall of Famer, so I can't top the BYW Nexus giving you that Hall of Fame proclamation, but I wanted to do something a little different, kind of out of the ordinary for you, for all the great contributions you've made on behalf of this sport and growing legendary backyard wrestling. But we wanted to make this day a special one for you, and congratulations, and hopefully you would accept.
Oh, I accept, and I greatly appreciate that. Thank you very much. You know, and like I said, I love what I do for the fans and backyard and wrestling in general. So this is kind of icing on the cake right there.
Absolutely, and that's what it's about here on Sportswire. We try to connect people, and it's about all wrestling matters. And you guys have done a great job, and you guys have grown the brand. And we were at 1,300 plus subscribers on YouTube. We have a big following on Instagram and TikTok. We have secondary shows on Legendary Backyard Wrestling. We have the relationship with the Nexus. So I wanted to obviously recognize all the great things that you have done. I want to say hello to my buddy Levi McDaniel. Obviously, he's doing a great job out there. Sub to his YouTube page. The IMF Center Show did a phenomenal job, and thank you for tuning in. Craven Rage, thank you very much for tuning in. We're going to definitely talk with you very soon on the platform in the next few weeks. But if you are here on Sportswire Radio, I would hope that you give us a follow anytime in a couple of different ways. First of all, we have an internet radio station where 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, you can listen to all of our great content on sportswireradio.org. We also have podcasts, we have live music, talk, and if you want to have your chance to be heard around the world on our internet radio station for free of charge, I do that on behalf of the community. Just get in touch with me, and I'll certainly let you have the opportunity to be heard from your friends, family, and our fans of Sportswire Radio. If you're on YouTube for the first time, I hope you hit that sub button for us. We're at Sportswire Radio 6579. We've hit over 500 subscribers now on YouTube, just past 750 followers on Facebook. My personal page on Facebook has almost 2,100 followers. We're on Instagram, just about 1,500 followers. We're on Tumblr. We have a blog that I write about different things, and we have more coverage coming up here right after Monday Night Raw. I'm going to be back talking the whole things related to WWE Monday Night Raw with a couple of different guys. My buddy Randy Dillon, also Chris Craven, the coach, also TBK, the Baltimore Kid, and a few other guys like Alan Michaels and Shane Pasquini. So you'll definitely want to check us out here right after Monday Night Raw. But if you are here right now on Sportswire Radio, we're having a great time with Chris Arruda, our general manager of Legendary Backyard Wrestling. He is also in the Backyard Wrestling Nexus Hall of Fame. I also want to say, yes, thank you very much for the kind words. I appreciate that. But obviously, so we're obviously getting ready for this season. So I always ask this question. And what are your goals for 2024 on behalf of Legendary Backyard Wrestling, Chris?
Oh, of course, the obvious, is put out, the best content we can for all the fans and stuff like that. But I really want to try to improve on the more techniques this year, that different wrestling moves and more crisp techniques, and practice a lot more. So it's more like wrestling, instead of kind of like what we used to do when we first started. So as you can see, with all the videos and matches we've had up till now, we've been slowly building it up. All the wrestlers are practicing harder, the moves are coming in. So I just want to continue on with that.
And with the season coming up, I mean, I know the weather is obviously, tough in North Dakota. I mean, here in New York, I can't complain. 40 degrees is cold, but you guys, it's probably 20 right now where you guys are, something like that. So in
a crazy winter so far. It's been down. We've had negative 20, 30 degrees one day,
60 degrees.
Negative 60 degrees, and then the next day it jumps back up to 40 degrees.
You had negative 60?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
With the wind chill.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. That's interesting. That's an interesting experience. But 40, 40 is okay. But we think we're almost out of winter. So let me ask you then the question. I don't think I asked this to you last time you came on. When do you guys get that opportunity to go back out and start training? Is it, let's say, like the 1st of April? Is it April 15th? Like in terms of like those things, I know right now it's very cold. I know I would imagine it's very hard to go out there. But is there a certain point that you say, all right, you know what? I'm confident everybody on the roster can go back out and congregate, things like that?
We try to push it. Well, obviously, it's all about the weather, but we try to push it towards about March if we
Okay.
can. And we actually plan on running a show here pretty soon. I believe it's next month. It's going to be our first show. So as long as the weather permits it.
Well, I know we have golden tickets, the big pay-per-view. That's in April. So
Yeah.
we still have probably like 7 weeks or so until then, let's say 7, 8 weeks. And, obviously that's something we're all excited about. But yeah, it's tough because in New York, like we've recently it's been a weird winter. We've had snow, we've had some snow, more snow than we've had, still below in terms of like, let's say the amount of snow. But we've also had like some cold weather and really warm weather. But compared to you guys, I can't complain. So, I mean, we'll certainly, figure all those different things. And I want to say hello to my buddy, another member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, the Bitcoin billionaire, Chase Wakefield. Chase was out there at yesterday's Versus the World Wrestling Reunion show. And what a show it was. I think it has like 800 views already. It has 50-something likes on YouTube. I'm going to be talking a little bit about that on Thursday with the guy, Brandon Costelli. Brandon's going to be here. He was in the 20-person rumble that they had there at Reunion, which called the Ace Christian. He's the Blaze Ace Christian. Chase Wakefield's the Bitcoin billionaire, but the Blaze Ace Christian had won the Rumble. And I'm going to have an announcement about Ace Christian tomorrow, but I obviously want to say hello in the meantime to Chase Wakefield. But okay, so obviously we're going to see the season start soon. But in terms of like, we have a big roster, but do you anticipate the roster to get bigger, smaller? Where do you see that as a front office guy?
We want to get it bigger, but of course, with everyone going their separate ways, like our referee Refajito is actually planning on going back to Africa to visit family, so we're not sure if he's going to come back. And we have a couple other younger ones that the work schedule is kind of not working with the backyard wrestling, so we might lose a couple, but we do have a couple other people that we've been talking to try to replace them and get some new faces into LBYW.
Interesting. So we might be actually losing some people, but we might be gaining some people that might make up for it, you're telling me.
Yep, that's the plan. We're always out there trying to recruit, from people that we know and then what people they know, and just trying to get the word out. And sometimes it's hard to get the weekend schedules down because a lot of us, we don't have the same days off. So, it's just a little difficult at times, but hopefully we see some new faces this season too.
I feel like I've asked this question. I know you've been on here, the Wilster's been on here, and I know CJ's been on here, but how is the scene in North Dakota right now currently with you guys? I'm curious in terms of like, is there a buzz with you guys? Is there other yarders like you guys or other companies? I mean, I'm just curious how you guys try to get talent.
A lot of it is just from word of mouth. When we're at work, we talk to people we work and we spread the word. But there is actually a few people from the Wilster has been recognized by, just people passing by that watch on.
Wilster's a character. You want to talk about characters. I mean, I'm always on Facebook, and the Wilster's always saying something. I mean, I'm sure right now the Wilster's cutting a promo. I'm sure right now the Wilster, he's doing something out there that's basically who knows what else. So, I mean, I am not surprised one bit you're telling me the Wilster's a character and the Wilster's going out and saying something because, I mean, that's all he knows how to do.
Exactly. That's all he knows how. He is kind of like the Paul Heyman of LBYW.
Yeah, a little bit. I see that. Yeah, he's a little bit like that because he just, he finds a way to, I don't want to say weasels his way into success, but he does find a way and, kind of almost being able to keep and stay afloat with his group. Obviously, PBS, Miss Showtime, and, you think about everything that he does. And, in a way, you can't can't really ignore what he brings to the table, and he's kind of really like, I would say he's probably the biggest mouthpiece the company has.
Yeah,
He's very good at what he does.
Yes,
I had him on here. He was trying to talk. Listen, he was one of the better talkers we had last year on Sportswire. I mean, some people come on here, and and I actually want to compliment you guys, especially the Worcester, because I've had pro wrestlers come on the platform, and I'm not going to say where and who, because somebody will say, "Oh, well, you're saying about that person," and they came on here, and I was like half asleep. It was like. It was like, they're phenomenal talents. I mean, if I said the names, if people who know what I'm talking about that have come on here, and they're phenomenal talents and their in-ring ability, but they came on here and it was like boring, but not the Worcester. The Worcester, he was quite the character. Loves his Georgia Bulldogs. Probably still talking about them, although he's probably pretty disappointed this year after what happened. But obviously, he's a huge mouthpiece for the company, and I really think he makes obviously PBS grow, and we'll see if he continue to give you PMS. And obviously, I could see, yes, definitely the Worcester. And I have to ask you before I get into a few other topics, kind of a fun topic. I mean, you had to have been so disappointed with your San Francisco 49ers, because I was rooting for you, and most of America was rooting for you. What happened last week?
Honestly, I don't know. We had a good game plan. I honestly think Kyle Shanahan gets in his head too much. Like, we have Deebo Samuel, we have Christian McCaffrey, we have Elijah Mitchell, we have a killer running game, but when the big games are on the line, he just seems to get away from running the ball. And that's
because you looked at that game. I mean, every time San Francisco and the ball, they were moving down the field pretty quickly. They were averaging like 5 or 6 yards a carry, but at times they kind of went away from that. I mean, that to me was basically, you had the game in your control. You pretty much knew what you had to do, and that was to get McCaffrey the ball. And you were moving the ball pretty well in Kansas City's defense from a running standpoint. They kind of got away from that.
And it also goes back to the last time 49ers played, even when they played Green Bay, when they played Detroit, and even when they played in the last Super Bowl against Kansas City, it just seems they big game, they just don't run the ball to chew the clock. I think
they left Kelsey open.
Yeah, and they kept leaving Kelsey open.
They gave Mahomes too much time at the end of the fourth quarter.
I couldn't agree with you more. They let a veteran team that's won championships before, they've let them hang in, and we see this story all too often, whether it was with the Patriots, whether it was when the Yankees were winning in the late 90s and the early 2000s, whether it was with your Lakers, the Spurs for a while when they were winning, a couple of years LeBron with the Heat. When you let a team that's won before and you let them hang in,
they're going to find a way to win.
And that's what happened. Listen, on the how about the drive in overtime? You only get the 3 points, or the drive in the fourth quarter where you gave them time. You gave Mahomes time to be able to try to match you. I mean, you can do that.
And another thing is, Mahomes is known for extending plays with his legs.
Yep.
So why?
There was a couple of them. He had the one long run, the other long run. Yep. It was the fourth downs, and he got the first down, and you just you were giving them too many yards. You basically ceded ground to them. I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, and why wasn't there a linebacker or corner, somebody spying on Mahomes the whole time, try to keep him in the pocket? No, that would have been a lot better if they would have. I think if they would have somebody spying on him, they could have stopped the yardage. Him picking up those first downs.
Yeah, I think he had the one interception, and you forced him into the one turnover. But other than that, you basically you let him play the way that he wanted, and I couldn't agree with you. Obviously, we'll come back to LBYW in a few minutes, but I look at the 49ers, even the game they played Baltimore Christmas. You talked about the Green Bay game. You talked about the Detroit game. And I don't know what they got away from in the middle of the season, where they just were totally dominant, and they just seemed to get away from what made them the best complete team in the league at times. And they just I don't know what it is with the 49ers. Now it's 4 championship games in 5 years, 2 Super Bowls, and they haven't been able to win it yet. I mean, I just wonder.
I honestly, I think me personally, in my opinion, I think it comes down to Kyle Shanahan trying to do too much as an offensive coordinator, maybe instead of sticking with what they know. They try to let the quarterbacks throw instead of being more of a game manager when the time comes down to it. Like Kyle Shanahan's been in what 3, 4 Super Bowls now. Atlanta, San Francisco.
Atlanta, I think 3 now. Atlanta was the game big lead, and 2 with San Francisco. He was the head coach for 2 of the Super Bowls with San Francisco.
Yeah, so I honestly, like, he's given all those Super Bowls away. It's not just, but he's a great offensive-minded coach. It's just I think his time management, in my opinion, he is just not that good.
Well, he gave Kansas City basically free time in that game to come back. He gave them opportunities, and he let them hang in there. I mean, you can't let a team like that hang in there. But you start to wonder because it's 4 championship games in 5 years, 2 Super Bowls, and you haven't won. I mean, obviously, I think most of this core will be back next year, but you got to win one. You got to win one.
Definitely. I would like to see a Super Bowl win, within the next generation or so.
It's crazy because the 49ers still haven't won since 1994 to 95. It's still crazy to me that a franchise that's been there so many times, that's actually had 19 NFC championship game appearances, has only been 54 championship games in league history. And San Francisco's actually been in more than a third of them, but yet San Francisco's only had only 5, right? But now that they've been to 3 Super Bowls since then and lost them, they've been to, I think it's 7 championship games since '94. They got there in '97. Harbaugh got there another year. They got the 1 Super Bowl, and then you got 4 with Shanahan. So you're talking about seven championship games, 3 Super Bowls. You haven't won. So it's a franchise they're used to being here, and I think most of America would root for you guys. So most of America.
I think everybody wanted to see Kansas City lose.
I did. I did. I think we're all disappointed about that. But we'll certainly see what happens. But obviously, in the remaining time and certainly getting ready for the season here, is there 1 or 2 wrestlers that you are keeping an eye on most in terms of this season starting up? Is there anybody you're keeping an eye on most?
I kind of want to see what, like in LBYW. I kind of want to see what White Viper does since joining PBS.
Good point.
Because with that season, it's been kind of like I said before, we had the Queen Justice turn to face, Nate Dogg turned to heel, Ragnarok winning, PBS. White Viper go to PBS. So I'm kind of wanting to see what PBS is going to bring out of White Viper.
It's a good point. That's definitely very much a good point. And obviously, PBS, I would certainly is going to have their sights set on that World Heavyweight Championship, which Queen Justice also has. That'll be a huge storyline that'll also take place. And talk about the year also that Nate Dogg had. Nate Dogg, I think, had a 9-3 record or 9-4 record this past year, and his record before that, I think he barely won that many matches in the first 3 years of LBYW. But he had a big year for you guys.
Yeah, I think like him turning heel was huge for his character. I think he was finally finding himself, and the way he can show his character truly is after he joined PBS, and he had a huge year. Because if we go back to the beginning of LBYW, Nate Dogg has had one of the worst records.
I know. I think he was like. I mean, Ragnarok had a tough record, but Nate Dogg's record, I think, was worse actually. Way worse.
So him joining PBS, like turning heel, it just showed what type of character he can bring out. What he can truly do for LBYW. So he's going to be another one interested to see where he goes from there.
Do you see him, and we actually have something I want to get to from LBYW in a second, but do you see him as a potential then, serious title contender of some sort going into the season?
I do. We do have some good ideas coming up. So, you and everybody else is gonna have to wait. That
Oh,
plays
well, I'll
out.
tell you what, I'm going to be watching. I can't wait, and I want people actually to join me in the meantime and looking back on what has been for our very good friend over at Legendary Backyard Wrestling. I will let you follow him in a couple of ways: YouTube and Instagram, ND_backyard_wrestling, TikTok, LBYW_. Those are some ways to get in touch with Legendary Backyard Wrestling. I hope you join me in doing the same. But I want to come back to certainly this individual. We know who it is. Arruda has announced earlier this month via Instagram and Twitter that our first match back will be Napalm versus Pinball 80 versus Psychotic Freak in a triple threat match on Throwdown. Boy, that's after what we saw Napalm do. Then you got Psychotic Freak and Pinball 80. You have to talk about this match because I mean this is literally going to be a throwdown. So let's talk about this for a few minutes.
So that match right there is kind of like Napalm coming back full. Full. And we all know Pinball is just crazy athletic, and so that's going to be good to see. And Napalm's more of a powerhouse, and then Psychotic Freak, you never know what you're going to get out of him from week to week. That's why he's the Psychotic Freak.
So in a way, it's kind of almost like three varying levels of strategy, more or less, or strengths.
Yeah, so you have, of course, Pinball being, the more of the luchador type.
Yep.
So it's gonna bring, like you said, three different types into one match. So it's something more exciting and something different we really haven't done too often in LBYW. So like I said, we're trying to explore more possibilities and give the fans something different every match.
Let me ask you, and again, I know you have to be impartial, but do you think that there's one wrestler here in this matchup that has an advantage?
I would probably have to say that's the Psychotic Freak, because I think he's due for a good breakout year. He's had his whole thing with PBS, and
because it's hard to beat crazy people.
Yeah, and it's hard to beat.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna plead the fifth on that
one. So and I know Psychotic Freak wants to get back into the title shot, in the contention with this. So he's going to be tough, and he's going to be ready to prove that he deserves the title shot.
So that was fair to say the winner of this match could necessarily be right in the mix for a major title here. This is a big match because this could determine somebody being a contender for something.
Oh yeah, because we got those three big names out there, and then we have Ragnarok, maybe a U.S. title shot, or maybe against Queen Justice for a world title shot. And then we can't forget that we got Showtime being the interstate champion, and he hasn't defended it too much, so we want to try to get him more airtime too. So you never know.
And Showtime's got the size. So I mean, if you're going to go in there with Showtime, you got to go figure out. Well, can you say it's Showtime to handle his size? So that's a really interesting champion there, and a guy that's almost kind of a wild card in all this mix here in LB.
Yeah, he's more of with Showtime. He's kind of like a better version of Omos.
Yes. Omos. Let's not even go there.
He got the size, but Showtime is actually more athletic, and you see the matches he's been in, and everyone can see it.
Yep.
So, you never know who wins in what title they could be in line for.
Absolutely, and these are reasons why I cannot stress it enough how much you need to follow Legendary Backyard Wrestling on all these great platforms: YouTube, Instagram, ND_backyard_wrestling, TikTok, LBYW. As we get closer to the season, we're going to have coverage from the guys with Legendary Backyard Wrestling. So you're going to see some of your favorites come on here from time to time. Obviously, DJ Alpha Junt will be back. This Reed show not too long ago. I'm sure the Wilson will be back. So we're going to definitely have people come back on in the time that we can.
And we actually have we were talking about it in our last meeting. If Ragnarok Chase was actually wanting to get a hold of you and try to set up the interview, because
absolutely
has more of a. He runs more of the backstage and does the interviews.
I know with the award show, I saw that he and CJ were co-hosts. Absolutely, yes, I definitely want to get Ragnarok on. And a matter of fact, we'll talk off the air, and I definitely want to follow up with that. So now that we'll have some time in the evenings, absolutely, as we're getting closer to the season. If, as a matter of fact, we'll book that date after we get off the show in a few minutes. So I'd be more than happy to bring them on. Absolutely, and anybody that we can on behalf of the company in the time that we have, I would love to.
And then the Psychotic Freak, he's well, I don't know what he planned, but he did want to get on. And
I remember. I know we had a couple different plans, but I think what wound up happening was I got really busy, and then B, I think when we were talking in August, I got really sick for like a month, and it was like, I mean, it was like, oh my god, I had a stomach virus I couldn't shake, and then in October. Maybe this was why I saw Expendables and it was a bomb, and I got sick after that. Then we lost touch. But obviously, I've been speaking to DJ, a little bit the last month or so, and I know we spoke a couple weeks ago, and I'm very happy that we've connected to bring you guys back on. So absolutely, Ragnarok and Psychotic, whoever else we can bring on the platform, for sure, we can definitely fit that in here. As we're going to lead up into the season. So I'm excited about all that, and I want everybody to follow you guys. Before closing thoughts, is there anything else that you want to share on behalf of Legendary Backyard Wrestling? Anything else out there that people should know about?
Well, I want to touch base. As you've seen in my last, I did retire the 24/7 championship.
Yes, I did.
But we actually have something planned that's going to take throughout the season. Then it's going to see. But it's going to make the show a tad bit more interesting and fun to watch because how we love our hardcore matches out here.
Wow. You're telling us we might be in for a surprise here.
Yes. And then if the fans and everybody else in the Backyard Wrestling, if they want to actually get to see what we do behind the scenes, we do have LBYW Backstage YouTube channel.
You guys do your own podcast with that. You actually go in behind the scenes, you talk with the talent. I think it's a really fascinating show. I've obviously watched it, and you guys do so many interactive things. I think that's why you guys have, the success that you've had with the channels and, everything else that, you guys have done, which is why the platform has grown here. Again, another platform for people to, go out and follow here. Absolutely. I mean, those are, definitely things, I want to see more.
And if anybody, with Backstage, that obviously there's a lot more people out there that's done it a lot longer because we're still kind of new to it. If they have any ideas or thoughts or, what we can incorporate to making our company bigger, just message us on our Instagram or wherever, they follow us on. And then we're always willing to take advice and stuff like that and just try to build our company a little better,
That's what it's all about. People's feedback. If you're out there, you're a fan of us on Sportswire, hit that sub button, hit that follow button, hit that TikTok like. I mean, you got to go out and support companies. They always say it's about real wrestling that matters. And these guys have done a great job out there representing. They've got thousands of followers. They've got thousands of views on their shows. They've been so interactive. They do a great job in incorporating people's family. And, this is all about supporting them, go out there and do it for the right reasons. This company has done it for the right reasons. But we want to support them and everything else that they have going on here. And my buddy Skulls will be on here in a couple of weeks and getting ready for TVW in California. I appreciate that. I don't know who you are because Narnia is nice. I don't know who Narnia is. I don't know. Am I missing something? But if you are here, I hope you hit that sub button on YouTube. Backyard Wrestling. Sportswire Radio. We're trying to push the subs up for everybody else. So thank you, though, for tuning in. But we'll certainly see some. All right. Obviously, we're looking forward to the season starting. Golden Tickets, our first big pay-per-view throwdown. Maybe we'll see a throwdown before then. Obviously, stay tuned to Legendary Backyard Wrestling social media channels for when all this starts. When it comes to the season, throwdown, everything else in between. And I want to give you the floor now, Chris. I want to give you some closing thoughts. And anything else you want to plug, share, or say, my friend? And certainly, let's do this more often and fire away.
Oh, yeah. So, actually, our first show should be coming up sooner. We plan on March, opening up our
Throwdown. I think Throwdown is in March, right? Throwdown is in March and Golden Tickets in April, if I'm not mistaken.
So I think we're gonna try to get just not Throwdown in March, but we're actually gonna try to get our first full episode in March too.
Okay.
And from there, we do got a lot of good surprises for everybody this year. So I think the fans are gonna really like this season.
Well, I would say this to kind of almost weten the palate. Don't spoil the surprises because the surprise will come back to yours truly. And that's why with those surprises, ladies and gentlemen, that's why you need to hit that sub, that follow, that like button on all these platforms because Legendary Backyard Wrestling, no matter if it's March or April, the season's not that far away. I know right now we're in February. It's kind of cold. It's kind of wintry, but it's going to end soon. I promise you. We've got less than 30 days as of tomorrow with winter, so you're going to definitely want to hang in there, stay the course, and I have no doubt the Legendary Backyard Wrestling is going to be a part of a number of great things, cool stuff that's going to be ahead here on Sportzwire Radio. This company, what a job it's done with so many subscribers that it has, the following, and you're going to have more talent in the future back on here. This is just the beginning, and I'm so happy that we connected once again, and I think that we're going to have some more coverage in March. We're going to talk about, obviously, Ragnarok coming on. I think that would be a good conversation. We'll start with Ragnarok. Obviously, I'm sure CJ will be back, but CJ always does the podcast, and you'll come back and maybe even your old nemesis, the Wilson.
Maybe when CJ starts winning again, you can have him back on the show.
Well, Ragnarok's the champion. Ragnarok's the U.S. champion. We'll talk with Ragnarok first, but obviously CJ will definitely be here one more time for those that are listening and watching on Sportzwire Radio. On this date, on all Sportzwire Radio platforms, it was Chris Arruda Day. Everything this man has done for this sport, everything that this man has done for the next, everything that this man has done for Legendary Backyard Wrestling, again, all of our platforms. It is your day, my friend. I will still extend this to you when we're off the air. And this is your moment. Thank you for all that you've done. Thank you for your support over the past year. And I can't wait for more coverage ahead. You're doing a great job here in this new role for you. And I continue to see what will happen and everything else with LPYW. But until then, my friend, thank you as always. Keep up the great work. And I look forward to more coverage here later in the month of March with you guys.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and thank you for having me on. And I really do appreciate the certificate and stuff. And like we said, we're going to have a good season, so a lot of fans are going to be liking what we have going.
Oh, I have no doubt, especially the success that you guys have had. I think the fans are only going to like it more and more and more, and it's only going to get better from here because the best is yet to come. And Legendary Backyard Wrestling is the best to be presented in North Dakota. That's why you want to follow them one more time here on a number of different platforms. Here it's YouTube, Instagram, ND_Backyard_Wrestling, TikTok, LBYW_. My name is the Reverend Tom Rice, the voice of all wrestling. I'll be back here in about 2 hours or so from now. We're going to have post-war reactions. We're going to talk you into the road to WrestleMania, NXT, SmackDown, plus much, much more. And if you're on Sportswire Radio, you're going back to your regular scheduled programming. If you're on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, I'll see you guys in 2 hours. But until then, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. All and everyone. It's Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling matters. And I'll see everybody here soon.